Well, welcome. Cut him off again. Welcome to another Rise and Thrive. Rise and Thrive. While we rising up out of our financial slumps and thriving in financial freedom. Yes, and I'm your host, Dr. A.D. Burns, and my co-host, uh, brother minister James Jones. What's up?
How you doing, Pastor? How
I'm
you
doing
doing,
all
all my grinders? That's what we here for.
So yeah, we just had a kick off of the,
Um,
well, they probably wouldn't get it anyway. So we just
that is that's
But
all.
listen, welcome to another Financial Friday. I am super excited. We have been getting some great reviews from those of you who have been chiming in on how Financial Fridays are helping you, how your financial situation is changing. And that's what it's all about. We want to see you thrive in financial freedom. We want to see you thrive in financial freedom. And so it's so important that you understand that even though it may seem overwhelming with all the information that we're giving you, all the principles, small adjustments. Start where you are, make small adjustments. What do you say about that, Mr. J?
I'm always for that. I'm always for the small adjustments. The only way for you to change is through small adjustments, not anything drastic. Nice and simple.
Listen, one of the things that we were wanted to try to figure out was how well you were doing.
Yeah.
And so why don't you type in the chat? How not a whole paragraph, but how Financial Fridays have helped you, or what changes have you made, or what challenges maybe you have, or something of that sort. Because listen, we just don't want to be on here just to be on here. We want to be able to help you to get to a place of financial freedom. And I believe Dr. James, he just went from brother minister to doctor. Dr. James is the man to help us to get to a place of financial freedom. What you say, Dr. Brother Minister James Jones?
I am just passionate to help people, and I'm fortunate that God rescued me and put me in the right position. That's the best I got for right now. But I do know that we can do this together. I'm not the only way to make it. I'm just telling you the formula for everybody else to make it. So that's always cool to see people making
it. yeah, because that's what you want, right? You want to see people making it, and oftentimes people think that they're so far apart, for where they want to be and where they are. But it's really you really don't look at it in the whole scale of things. You look at it, one segment at a time. You get your formula for where you want to go, your roadmap, and then you deal with it one segment at a time until you get to the place where you're going. And so oftentimes what happens is people look at everything, and then they begin to get the emotions involved, and then they just say, you know what, I'm just going to stay where I'm at. But you can do this. You can do this. Is that right, Mr. J?
I guarantee you can do it. I guarantee you can do it.
He guarantees.
I'm in agreement. I am guaranteeing, because the method always works. I'm not asking you to spend $3,000 of money that you don't have. I'm asking you to spend your money and make right decisions with your money.
Okay.
And with those small adjustments, just small. Let's say you gamble a lot. Okay, cool. Now I'm not gambling no more. Cool. That small adjustment allows you to do more. Hey, guess what? I used to eat a bunch of snacks for dinner. Now I'm only down to one bag. Guess what? That small adjustment is just a decision. And that decision will propel another decision. Mm-hmm. And that decision will propel another decision. And then you'll start saving money that you never knew you were saving.
Yeah.
It's always these small steps.
Small adjustments. Come on, put that in the chat. Come on, put that in the chat. Come on, YouTube. I see you out there. Put that in the chat. Facebook, come on, put that in the chat. Small adjustments. Yeah. It's all about small adjustments. You start where you are, get the roadmap for where you want to go, and then you start making small adjustments, small adjustments. So what happens when you mess up? Do you give up when you mess up?
No,
Huh?
you never give up because
You
you
might as
mess
well
up.
give up. If you messed up, you might as well give up, right?
Never,
Never?
never give up.
Why not?
Never, because the road isn't over. You still got a race to run.
Okay.
If me and you both take off on a race and I stumble at the beginning, do I just be like, oh well? No,
Just
you better get up.
go into the locker room.
You
You stumble, go to the locker room.
like how do you like? I feel a certain way about that, and I want to say something, but the nicer me is telling you that you can get up and go.
All right.
The old grown man in me, I'll be out there with a shoe chasing you.
Okay.
You can either do it the good way, or we can have somebody chase you.
Okay.
I would prefer me not to be out there like this. You know better versus saying, hey, bro, come on. Hey, sis, let's roll. Come on, we got this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to handle things, is to let people know that they got this.
Yeah.
A little stumble never stopped the race.
Yeah.
It just didn't. Usain Bolt still took two world record titles by stumbling. If you don't believe me, check the video.
Yeah.
2 world records and he stumbled. Now, if he can do that, come on now.
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, because that's how people feel most of the time. They feel like, I stumbled, let's just give up, give it in. But they don't understand you're not really competing with anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so there's no time limit on it. There's no, destination that you got to get to within a certain period of time. You're not really competing with anyone. And so it's really just you making small adjustments so that you can see improvement on your road to financial freedom. And so, never give up, and never give up. Yeah.
It's like an old movie. It's like never give up, never surrender. I whenever you say that, I'm like, I remember it was an old movie. And I think people need to understand that I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, and I'm not trying to tell people to be perfect.
Okay.
I'm telling people to make a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
If your mindset is that you're going to make a bunch of money and you have a formula that works and it produces money, well, then you should sow into what you plan on reaping.
Yeah.
If I want to have a lot of friends, because I already got a little bit of money in my pocket and I am financially secure and I just want to be friendly, well, I think I need to sow into being friendly. So I need to take those little small adjustments, smile a little bit more, say hi a little bit more, make more eye contact, be available for people to pour into my life, and also be willing to pour into other people's lives.
Yeah.
And these are just small adjustments. So I may be grumpy one day and I may not smile as much as I should one day, but it's the fact that I'm making an conscious effort to make sure that I'm smiling, to make sure that I'm there for other people, to make sure I'm pouring out, and I'm also taking in what other people are saying. It's those conscious efforts that once you start doing it, they become habits. And once they become habits, then you just be smiling for no apparent reason.
Right.
Because you just feel so good inside.
Because you're free.
Oh my goodness. That's the funnest part. When you make it to freedom, everything else gets funner.
Okay.
And I don't even know if that's a word, but funner. If it's not a word, it should be, because funner is where you need to be.
All right, Doc. So what we got on the agenda for tonight?
Okay, so the big thing is to figure out where you are.
Where you are.
Where you are. And remember, we're not pressing on you. This is completely this is like a self-evaluation. So it's not me telling you. It's you looking at where you are. And remember, like I tell everybody, take notes and write everything down. That's the best way to get a better, accurate understanding of where you are and where you're going.
Yeah, I try to always take notes. Apostle Hilliard says God is not obligated to repeat himself. So a lot of times when you hear things and it's so good, you say, oh, I'll never forget that. But then as soon as you get home or wherever you're going and you try to remember it, then it's gone. You don't say, what was that? What was that? And it could be simple. And so it's always good to, take some notes. And so I take notes, even though I already know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Because things come up that's not on the paper. You know, things come up and it'd be like, oh yeah, and that could be a catalyst to a thought that opens up my whole understanding about a certain area when it comes to how to navigate, you know, whatever that area is. And so don't take it for granted. Small steps, small adjustments, and it can even be small phrases, you know, or principles or words that can unlock that for you. You know, so you want to take you some good notes.
Now remember when I told everybody sometimes you got to encourage yourself. The world is not promised to encourage you. You got to wake up in the morning and you got to determine that you're going to do good that day. And if that means you got to go inside the bathroom and look yourself in the mirror after you done washing your face and say, you know what, today going to be a good day. You may not feel today going to be a good day, but tell yourself today going to be a good day. Today I'm going to sell some stuff. Today I'm going to open my business. Today I'm going to do my LLC. Today, not tomorrow. Say words of affirmation. Today I'm going to do this, do this, do this. And you'll be surprised how often that small step in the morning start working itself out.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And I laugh because I do that every morning. I didn't in the past, but now I make an effort to make sure that if I'm not doing it every morning, I'm doing it 99% of the time.
Okay.
Because once you start seeing how those efforts start going and how your body transitions itself to the word that you're speaking. I don't say, oh, today gonna be gloomy. I'll be like, just a little obstacle. I got an opportunity though. I'm gonna handle it.
Right.
And I just start taking all that stuff in stride, and then all of a sudden, I don't have obstacles. I just have a bunch of opportunities in my way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a bunch of nonsense. I just have a bunch of adventures, and then in my mind reacts to what I'm telling myself. You got problems? No, I just got a couple opportunities to show people that God is good.
Okay.
And then you do one of these numbers, and then you roll with it.
Okay. That's a good segue. I'm going to pop off for half a second here because you just said something that was me.
All right, while he popped off, let me let you know little secrets to the trade. One, only you can decide which way you want to go. Oh, he back on. All right, I had some more stuff for y'all, but he back on.
Let me show you where I popped off.
Oh,
and they had a 3-pack.
Oh snap!
They had a 3-pack. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that.
Okay. I do see the three. I see the 3 books. I see the 3 books.
It's that they got ego is the enemy, stillness is the key, and of course the one you talked about last week, the obstacle is the way. And so they just came. And so when you said, you know, you talked about, you didn't say obstacles, but that's what you were just talking about, challenges that we have. It reminded me that my books came today. So I was like, they came. So I saw the 3-pack and I said, I'm gonna get the 3-pack because still this part is where I am right now. A pastor told me that illness needs stillness. You know, so having challenges with your health, you have to get somewhere and be still.
Yeah.
And so then I ordered that and I saw that. I said, yeah, those are going to be my books I'm going to read during this. These 2 weeks, I'll be off for 2 weeks during the week. And then whenever that sabbatical comes. Well, listen, we better get digging. You know, that time is going.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
and,
I got you.
You know, you always go over.
That's how we live right now. That's how we live. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, I don't want to belabor the point. You know, then no, I'm just letting people know they know who they know.
I make my living by talking, so you know. Time, what is time?
All right. So to start us back off, we're gonna do Rise and Thrive to all my grinders. Everybody taking notes. We want to make sure, we want to see where you are. Now, this is just a highway of life. So you can be going any kind of direction. You may not know where you're going. You may have an idea where you're going, You may know where you're going. So this is just to get you in line to figure out, for you to figure out where you're going. So get your notebooks ready and we'll get right into it. Okay. The first one that you're going to talk about, the first road that we're going to be on is called financial stability. And yes, I can already see that the emblems are blocking some of the words. So I'm telling you what it's called. It's called financial stability. Okay. The key points to financial stability are, there you go. Now, when you take notes, you got to see where you are. If you're great, right? If you're great in income and expenses. So when you look at income and expenses, that gives you your income stability. Stability means how quickly or how likely that you're able to maneuver yourself to get things done, and or to maneuver yourself to get the things that you need to get at the time you need to get them. So you're great if you're living within 20% of your income. That means all the money you bring in, if you're at 20% or less, you're doing great for yourself. Good is 40%. Good is what I'm striving for. And 40% of your income means that you got all of your expenses, all your bills are coming in, and you're handling it within 40%. That's a good income. And that means that you have a good living because of the fact that when things happen, you have the ability to maneuver yourself in order to accomplish those things. When something comes up, or you have an addition to your life, like, hey, I got a parent that's now going to be living with me. That's an addition to my life. Hey, because that parent is living with me, now I have these additional expenses that I got to take care of. Or if you have children and they starting to become of the age, and now they got to get on your insurance so they can drive your car, and then you got to buy them another car. Guess what? If you're already striving to be at 40%, you're in a good space. Now we go to decent. Decent is when you're at 60%. And the reason why I say decent is because you're starting to be out the threshold that you can wind yourself into some difficulties when you start maneuvering around. Now, when I say maneuvering, I do mean, hey, I need to go somewhere. Hey, I need to up and leave. Well, if you're at 60%, you start putting yourself into a position that if something was to happen, you could be down. It's not bad, but it is decent. The next three, right? The next three are where it gets a little worse. If you're living at 80%, and we've talked about this many times, if you have all your income coming in and 80% of it is just for you to live, that means that the things in which you can do for the Lord, the things you can do for the fatherless, the things you can do for the widows, the things you can do for those who need you, you're less likely to do those things because you're just trying to live off the 80. That means whatever left is going to be the residue. And we want to make sure that you are doing a proficient job at living your life so you can live your better life. Okay. The next one is improvement. So if you're writing this down, if you're living at 100%, this is not offering, this is not your tithing, this is not extra expenses, this is just living. If you're living at 100%, you need to improve. But the question is, how do you improve? Well, you got a couple of options. The easiest option for me to say is increase your income. Now, that may be another job. That may be having a two-family household where now mom may have to work or dad may have to work. That may mean dad is taking on 2 or 3 jobs to make sure that income is coming within order. Now, the dynamics, I can't explain your particular dynamics to you unless we sit down and talk, which I'm very happy on doing. But depending on how your dynamics are, if you're at 100% of your income just to live, that means nothing else is getting paid. You're just living paycheck to paycheck. And that needs to be improved. So whether you're going to do a part-time job, a second job, or someone else is going to work and bring in income, you want to make sure that you're doing that so you're not putting yourself in a bind to come. Now, the last one is called hope. Because if anything happened, it's a hope and a prayer. Like literally, if you're living above 100% of your income, that means every single paycheck is already going to a past due bill, which means you're not moving forward. You're not even trailing water. That means you're slowly going underneath the water, which means you're going to be in debt soon enough, if not already in debt. So you want to make sure that if you're living beyond 100% of your income, we want to really push, or I really want to give you some incentive to tell you, hey, guess what? You may want to really rethink how much money you got coming in, and those things need to be pushed out a little faster.
Okay. Now, that's very good. That's very good. And those of you want to type in the chat, what's your thoughts? Because, many times we don't realize where we are. We know money is coming in and going out, but we don't assess it to really understand. But now you have a measuring tool here, so you can see whether you're within your 20%, 40%, 60% bracket, or whether you 80 to 100 or over 100%. And small adjustments, because there's all kind of things you can do. When you think about things around your home, you can look at different ways of saving money or cutting your spending. And some of it could be as easily as buy a generic. And we talked about some of these things early on, but getting to a place where you're watching how you spending the things around your house, or when it comes to your entertainment, maybe getting rid of some of your subscriptions. You may have HBO and the rest of them, Netflix, Prime. You have multiple memberships. You might want to cut them off, and they have some free ones out there as well. They come with commercials, but they're free. Instead of always going out, maybe just learning, getting the love, taking a walk, versus always feeling like you need to go somewhere. When it comes to your food, you can look at ways of planning your meals, not so quick to throw out your leftovers. You know what I'm saying? You can brown bag your lunch versus going out to eat at lunch, and you don't have to do it every day, but, brew your own coffee, and get you a thermos, just different things, you might need to get rid of that Amazon app, if you trigger finger, you always hitting that button, or the home shopping networks, trying to get a hold of what you're doing. The best way is to go back to what we talked about as far as budgets, and really, listing your income and your expenses so you can know where you are, and looking at it being realistic so you can know what you need to do. A lot of times, even though you may be in a position of hope, a lot of times you're not being hopeful if you're not making any choices to help get you into a place where you need to be. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you want hope, you want things to happen, but you're indecisive as far as the decisions that you need to make in order for things to start happening for you. So you'll never become hopeful if you're not willing to make the call, and so you look at some of those things, and at first you might feel like you can't do without it, but I assure you, you'll learn to get along without it, and then you get to a place where when you can do it, you probably don't even want to do it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, Mr. J?
Yes.
Because they say the average American is living paycheck to paycheck. They say the average American don't have a emergency fund, and these stats are real, and they're in everybody's community, and so I know they're in our community, and so it's so important that we begin to really make those small steps, really make those small adjustments, so that we can be financially free.
Yeah, because the problem that most people will see when they start doing things is that inflation is a real thing. So what it's costing you for a loaf of bread now, 5 years will be double that. But your income isn't going to increase by double that in 5 years. So if you don't start now on making these small adjustments, when the tide hits, and I say the tide because people don't know that technology is one layer of inflation. So just inflation is just our money is increasing. But then you got automotive improvements that's going to happen, technology improvements that will happen, and that will also shrink. It was it will shrink the workforce. So when it shrinks the workforce, that means we have more people arguing or fighting for less jobs, which means the price or the cost of that will be also reduced. So we want to make sure that you are ahead before you are behind. So if you are behind right now, work at getting ahead.
Mm-hmm. And it's already happening. You know, people really don't realize it is already happening. Just along with AI, AI is cutting on the verge of cutting millions of jobs. You know, millions of jobs. You know, and when you think about AI, you can see why they have invented uh, artificial intelligence to the degree that it can do things that no, it used to take a person to do. And when you look at the automation of the workforce, a lot of companies that used to need bodies, now they got robots doing them. And so James is certainly right with as the technology improves and grows, it's going to shrink the job market. And you have to really begin to come to grips with the fact that things are not like they used to be, and things are only going to change going forward when they talk about what things look like futuristic wise. We're going to have to be able to track our spending, track our spending habits, and be able to do things based on what I can afford or based on what's, a necessity for me, and not just, blow money, blow money, blow money. And then when things get bad, don't have any. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
it made sense to me. So
yeah.
So if I can clarify for anybody who didn't get it, you have to. This is not something that is up for debate. Technology is dwindling the job market automatically. How many people actually write papers for people now? No, that's AI. How many people are in the automotive manufacturing? No, not that many. AI has taken over a lot of those things. And yes, you still have some trades out there, but the improvement of technology, guess what? We don't have metal pipers no more. Everything is switched over to plastic or to PEX. So the uniqueness and the specialty it takes to be a plumber, that's also dwindling because now they have new tools to make it easy. Look at all your exotic sports cars. They're so exotic that they was rough to handle. But now with new technology, now with new dampers and new springs, your fastest, most aggressive sports car, guess what? Is all tamed. And they do that because technology allows us to have that experience without some of the human interactions that may cause for a delay or may have an interruption. Robots don't have sick days.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't. They may, and if they're calibrated, they can produce the same thing thousands of times before they ever start making something out of calibration. And then it takes one person or maybe two to calibrate it, and guess what? It's now producing what may take 10 people to do. A robot is already doing that in leaps and bounds. Plus, a robot doesn't take breaks. It can run until it is stopped or until it runs out of material. With the human factor, we still got to take breaks. We work our 8 hours, or we may work 12. Some may work 16, but eventually we do have to stop. Whereas a computer is just running. So those things are what we must be mindful of today. And technology is only getting better, or it's getting more useful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, remember, back in the day, your watch was a timekeeper. Now your watch is an answer machine, a date book, a calorie counter. It's a, it's a heart rate, it's a heart monitor, it's an EKG machine. It's a, if you wanted to, it's gonna start shooting webs out your watch too. I mean, the technology is coming across so fast that in 5 years, imagine what your watch can do.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what your phone can do now. What information can your phone not do? And then imagine 5 years how big or how small your phone may be. I mean, VR is actually coming up online as a actual playable source. Now they got VR platforms. All of these things are happening. So when I say you must live within your income, and that means if you have to fight tooth and nail to get there, fight tooth and nail to get there. And once that becomes your normal, not fighting tooth and nail, but that your mindset is there, that you are at 100%. If you're at hopeful, get to improved. If you're at improved, get the bad. If you're at bad, get the decent. If you're at decent, get the good.
Yeah.
If you're at good, get the great.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say you're getting there, I mean you're striving to get there, because that's the best way for you to know that you are putting yourself in the best financial situation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. It's not nothing to be fearful over. It's just understanding that we're evolving as a society, and it's important that the sooner you get a grip on your habits and on your spending, the sooner you get a grip on that, you won't have to worry about those things. But if you don't begin to, the Bible uses the word good, be a good steward. If you don't begin to be a good steward over your resources, when things shift for you where you can't get them the same way you got them before, then you'll be in a bad situation. And so you have to think about how important that is for you and your family. And it's nothing to be afraid of. It's more about understanding what's out there, and not taking for granted where you are and what you have, because a lot of times people spend because they in their mind know they're gonna have something next week, but we don't know that always. And listen, financial literacy is your rite of passage. Financial literacy is your rite of passage. And so you have a right to be financially literate, where you understand finances, and then beginning to pass that down to your children and your children's children. And you'll be amazed um, the impact that would have on generations going forward. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So we looked at the different categories of income.
Yes.
Now we want to go to, I was just looking at the time. Okay. All right. We're doing pretty good.
The next one,
Well,
after income.
Say that again.
After income,
yeah,
we got to go to our savings and investments. Now, I want to tell you, when it comes to savings and investments, savings is investments. They're not separate. One is the beginning and one is the end. When you save money, you're not saving money to stash it away. You're saving money for a purpose. That purpose is investments. Whether you want to invest in gold, silver, REITs, if you want to invest in 401k, 201k, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, if you want to invest in the air or air quality, that's what your investment is. But every investment starts off with a savings. So when I say savings, just know savings and investments are the beginning and the end of where you put your money or you stash your money. Okay. With that being said, I think you're doing a great job if you're saving and investing 80% of your income. When I say savings and investing, remember, every investment you have needs to have a kickback. That means if you're opening up your own business, your business has a kickback. It's with your regular income plus your investment portfolio, which is kicking you back some more monetary funds. if all of that combined gives you 80% of your savings and investments is what you're saving and or investing is 80% of your income, guess what? You're doing a great job. Also, likewise, if your living is under 20%, so you get the 20 plus the 80, that's 100%. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you're saving 40% of your income, you're doing good. It's not bad. You're doing a good job because 40% of your income is going towards your future. Now, when I said the formula, remember the formula I put out is 20%. 20% is what I call doing, you're on your way because that's the formula. If you're at 40%, if you're at 80%, trust me, you're doing great. You're doing good. Okay. If you're at 15% of your income being saved, you're doing decent. Decent isn't bad. Decent isn't good. Decent is above average. So I don't want you to make it into a grade because if you're saving and investing 15% of your income, that means you are utilizing 85% for everything else. You're doing a good job. You want to make sure that you're putting those things into practice. So it's not just enough that we're saving and then we're saving and then we're saving again. And I got some more money and I'm saving. I got a large chunk and now I'm saving. Is that we're saving for a purpose. Remember one thing that I am very big on. Everything, even your finances, need to have an assignment. So as you're saving for a thing. Now, I am really big on not having Christmas be a blow up of my wallet or my pocketbook because as much as I love people, you shouldn't put yourself in financial debt just to tell somebody I love you. Sometimes you just got to say words like, I love you. I appreciate you. I am proud of you. Those words can do a lot more than just saying, here's a new car. Or when I say car, I mean a new toy car or a card with $20 in it. Sometimes just by being affirmed, it does a lot more than just having a trinket.
Right.
Okay. And this is where it gets bad. So you're in a bad position if you're saving only 5% of your income. What that typically tells people when you're saving 5% of your income or investing 5% is that you're either really tight with your money, like you're hanging on to it with a fist, or you don't know what you're doing with your money, which puts you in a precarious situation because now it brings in more predators who may be more apt to try to scam you. The improvement area is 0%. That means that you're looking at what you're doing right now and you don't think or don't believe that you can do better. That's why you're not saving and or investing in any amount of your income. So if you're doing that, if you need to improve past 0, go to 5%. Start somewhere. Remember, all the old stuff always trickles into the front. You're on another road. You're in your journey. So start at start. If you're great, keep soaring. If you're good, strive for great. If you're decent, strive to be good. If you're doing bad right now, strive to be decent. If you need to improve, strive just to be a bad at this. Because if you're at 0, strive to just be bad at it. Put some money into your savings. Then figure out what you want to invest in or how you're going to invest. But make an assignment with your money and then get yourself moving forward. That's the only way to pull yourself or to get yourself into a better financial situation when it comes to your savings and investing.
Well, that helps a lot, because a lot of times, they had an old saying. They used to say, "Get all you can all you get, sit on the can and poison the rest." And that meant that that a person go around just gathering up money or resources, and then you hide them away, and then you just sit on them, and then you poison the rest of it so nobody else won't get none. But you're helping us to see that it's not about stacking it up, storing it, but it's about taking it and letting it work for you, and it works for you on different levels. And so that's important. And so that's very good. And you can start as little as $500 with a CD,
Yes.
and lock it in for 6 months. I don't know if they have them for a year, but you can lock them in, and then you can begin even right there. Set your goal, for you know starting somewhere.
Yes.
Small adjustments, small adjustments. Well, we are a little over halfway through, and let's just talk a little bit about the men's breakfast that's coming up, the men's brunch. And so I was very excited to hear the news that we sold out.
Yes.
Yeah, we sold out. The men's brunch is sold out. It was sold out, and then they had such a demand. They opened it up and got the stragglers, if you will, and then they I think it was the last one was 5 more, and then they said, "Listen, we just can't take no more." And so, if you were planning on coming to the Father's Father's Day Ben's brunch, you missed out this year, and then next year we have to, look at another space that can accommodate more. But it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really exciting, and to say the least, I just celebrated my 65th birthday.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. There you go.
and I'm excited about that. Got bullied into Medicare. So I don't know if they hear this, if they gonna come for me or not, but and so that's a new turn in my life. Church is going to a great place. James, how's your family?
Let me guess. I had one valedictorian, two 3.6s or two 3.7s. And that's just academically. The other than that, it's a lot going on in my house. We setting ourselves up to go on another trip. So that's like really. Oh, my family, yeah, we're really big on not spending frivolously because I want my family to see the world. So we always want to assign money in those pockets because I want my family to see, hey, this is what California looks like. This is Toronto. No, this is what Paris feels like. No. Let's go back down south. I got my family down south.
Okay.
So it's always about traveling and looking to see how the world is. So that's where I assign my money. So my kids right now are getting ready to. I forgot what they was doing. I forgot what they was doing yesterday, but I know they getting ready for another trip.
and that's the beauty of financial freedom. You can discipline yourself to give up the frivolous now, when it comes to the things that we're spending, and that stacks up, and the way you're able to do something significant, and that's the beauty of financial freedom, and that's why getting on a budget is important, because a budget can be your thermostat to help you to regulate what's coming in and what's going out. And when you look at your budget, you see if it's too much going out in a certain area. You have to purposely, intentionally discipline yourself to cut back in that area. In some areas you can look at, and you might need to just eliminate them altogether, and so that you can live like you want to live later, by giving up something now. And so being able to see the world or vacation or whatever your desires are, it's really centered around those small steps that you're making towards whatever your goal is. And I don't know who said it, but somebody said that you have to have a why that's big enough. Why you want to do it has to be big. Why you want to do it is not big, then you won't do it. And I think we had a assessment that we were putting together. It's not all the way together. I didn't put my part in it. Excuse me. But we have an assessment, and talk a little bit about the assessment.
Oh, okay. The assessment gives us the ability to, one, see how we're doing, see how effective we're communicating, as well as it gives you an opportunity to ask questions and give us more thought. Tell us what things are we missing, because as good as I am, I need you to say, hey, guess what? Speak more into that subject. And then I promise we're going to get together and we're going to speak more into whatever subject that comes up. So the assessment gives us a better viewpoint of any questions that come in, and it gives us a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so it's important to evaluate where you are. A lot of times in our mind, we know where we are, and for the most part, we're pretty close, if not right. But putting the things down on paper and being able to look at them or put them down electronically. I know y'all don't use paper no more, but
I was looking like,
I'm still a paper man, so I'm in between. But yeah, it's important that you measure where you are, look at where you are, so that you can see. It's different when you see it, versus you just know it. It's different when you see it, and then you can begin to make adjustments.
Yes.
Okay. So we got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah. I can just add into that.
Okay.
As much as fun as it could be to think you know it, it's fun to always think you know it. But when you start putting those numbers down, and you can actually see that you make 10 cents at the end of the month, or when somebody say I got more a month than I had money,
mm-hmm.
Those are when you start looking, because some people have been doing, I think I heard this quote before, some people have been doing so much with so little for so long that they don't know that they have so little.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is, if you've been doing so much for so long with so little that you don't know that you have so little, well, then I want you to put it on paper, so you like, okay, cool, this is what God has been doing with what I have. Let me improve with what I got. Because there's nothing wrong with improving. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm content where I'm at, but I'm still going to strive. Because contentment doesn't mean that there's another level. Contentment means no matter where I find myself, I can be at peace.
Yeah.
That's being content. It doesn't mean, hey, Pop, I remember the vision you gave me. Hey, Pop, I want to take my kids to this place. Hey, Pop, remember where the family is supposed to be. Hey, Pop, remember where I'm supposed to be. Hey, Pop, I remember what you told me I'm supposed to do. So just because you're content, it doesn't mean that you are stagnant. It means that no matter where you are, you have peace, you have understanding, and you have the ability to move around.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I want you to understand. Just because you're content does not mean that you're stagnant.
Yeah, and that's true. And you have to understand that, because a lot of times people don't, they think the opposite of that. They think that they are, but it's not. It's being in a place where you okay with where you are, because you have the knowledge of where you're going, and so you good. You ain't trying to rush nothing. You ain't trying to step into something that you're not ready for. You understand where you are, and you understand where you're going. And so because you know where you're going, you could be at peace with where you are. That's what contentment is really all about.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Mr. J, did we get through all of our info for tonight?
I think we got through all of our info for tonight. My biggest thing about everything that I told you is that these are always small steps. I never want anybody to jump into it and like rip half their paycheck apart trying to consider themselves to be good or great. I would much rather somebody make the small adjustments and be decent.
Mm-hmm.
Decent still means livable. Decent still means that you're thriving. Decent still means that you're rising. Decent isn't a bad area. It's a really decent area. That's what the word means. Decent. It doesn't mean terrible. It just means decent.
Yeah.
So that's the one of the biggest takeaways that I want people to know what decent looks like, because we can live off decent. Decent can sustain you. It's just that don't stay there. Understand the platform that you're on, and then do those small adjustments to move further. I got a bunch of small ideas that people can utilize, that we utilize in my house in order to get things that we need to get done. Do you want me to go over a couple of them real quickly?
Sure, because
Okay.
I think we just got to understand that there's only really two ways you can do this thing. Either you have to downsize your 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 expenses, or you have to upsize your income.
Yes.
But you're not going to be able to just wash out at one level. So you're gonna have to focus on one or the other. And I would suggest focusing on increase. You know, um, as an ultimate goal, and sometimes you have to step back in order to step up. So you cut out all your wasteful spending, unnecessary spending, things that can wait till another time, and you begin to put that away, and you make sure that you're writing that down, what those numbers are, and then you'll see that those numbers will start like a catalyst to a whole different way of thinking, and it'll begin to accumulate quicker than you think, and then you'll be able to take that and then be able to apply it with the new knowledge that you have, and not just burn through it, but you begin to put it on assignment. And as you do that, you'll find yourself getting to a more place of stability, where one contentment would begin to settle in, where you don't really have to have a lot of those other things that you thought that you needed to have. And two, you'll begin to see the progress of your cash stacking up to the place where you're able to take it now and put it into one of those investments. And as you continue with that pattern, then that thing will start snowballing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so real quick, one of my biggest things was I used to have cable in the house. 3 rooms in cable. I was around $250, $270. I had a box, DVD recorders. I had all that stuff. And then I went from the recorder. I had to turn everything in. Right. I went from all of that down to buying Roku TVs, and it's called Google. It's like this Chromecast.
Okay.
And when I was downsizing, I realized that I can get Netflix automatically from having my subscription with my cell phone service had a subscription that I got free. I got free Netflix. And it was just like it was because I started observing, and I was like, well, if I don't need this, and I started looking around, and that's how you find those small things, because I was so encompassed with saying, cool, I need to have all of this stuff around me so I can watch. And I was like, what do I really want? Well, I really want to go here, and I really want to be able to maneuver more effectively. So once I started downsizing, I started looking at all of these different things, and I had a cell phone that had free. It was Yahoo at first, and now it's Netflix. But it was all free. I just didn't utilize it because I had something else. So it's these small adjustments that we're making, and then you can come back and say, man, I'm actually saving $150 from what I used to pay. Now I'm saving it. And then after a year, you're not saving anymore. You just got an extra $150. So now you got an increase of $150 every single month. Those small adjustments is like, okay, cool. Now I'm ticking down. Boom, boom, boom. What I'm gonna do with that 150? Now that 150 goes to this. And those things snowball a lot faster than what I can merely let somebody know. So small adjustments in the right direction does equal success.
and that was a huge savings.
Oh yeah.
That was a huge savings. And so I was looking at what we got here. We got 5 minutes. I was looking at the assessment sheet to make sure that everything was pretty much self-explanatory there. And so on the assessment sheet, we have James Lynn, and that's an alias, right?
Yes, that is definitely an alias.
All right. So,
that is definitely. I put that on. I only put that on there.
So you can just go in there and change James Lynn to your name, and then you put overflow. Overflow is what?
The overflow, I believe, is the. I guess I gotta look at it too. I'm like the overflow. I'm like,
is that like a big name for it? And then you have your main areas.
Oh, gotcha. So,
and then you have your collected debt. You have your credit cards and whatever different things that you may have.
Oh, the overflow is just a name. So James Lynn, the overflow is just a name.
I call mine prosperity.
Yeah. So I want my vision is that I always want to have overflow. Okay. So I have enough coming in. So basically, what you want to have is this is your assessment. So you want to know how much money is actually leaving. So your needed debt versus your collected debt. So rent, light, water, gas, car loans, cell phones, interest, all that stuff is needed debt. And I say needed because we need a place to live. We need a place to sleep. It's good to have heat, water, gas, electric. Mm-hmm. But credit cards, you don't necessarily need credit cards. Now, when I say you necessarily don't need it, if you're using a credit card for an emergency, go ahead. If you're using a credit card and that credit is going to produce you a higher income than what the credit is going to charge you, use your credit card. There's a lot of different scenarios and tactics in which a person could utilize a credit to facilitate other events. But that's collected debt, and that's not something that you needed that's not a debt that you needed.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I clarify those things so I don't get a chat like, hey, I got 5 credit card debts. What do you think? I think you need to not have those unless you have a purpose.
Yeah. And so if you can, just click, the link is in the chat, and you can just click on that link, and then you can just save that, and that's your assessment form, and then you can just go in there and put in the numbers, your numbers in there, and it automatically calculated at the bottom for you. And then you go in there and list all of your your collected debt in there, and then it'll give you a total there. And then when we come back on next week, then we'll kind of chop it up a little bit about that and help you to begin to see how you could begin to get your game plan so that you can get to a place of financial freedom.
Yeah, right? That's always the best thing. Huh? That's always the best thing.
They said that's always the best thing. Financial
always freedom. The best thing. Yes.
Well, we're just about out of time. James, what are some of your closing remarks?
I wish for all you to listen, have a good night, and eat a bunch of food.
Eat a bunch of food.
Oh yeah, that's it, fam. That's it. Just eat some food and be happy.
Everybody don't have your metabolism. You can't say that. If I eat a bunch of food, it's gonna show up.
I bet you be happy though. I bet you're gonna be happy. Man, bet you're gonna be
eat a bunch of food. Well, listen, we're about out of time. Thank you again for tuning into another Financial Friday. And our goal is to help you to rise out of your financial slump. And it's be our joy to see you thrive in financial freedom. I'm Dr. A.D. Burns and my co-host, Dr. James Jones.
Oh, yeah.
We out. See ya. Peace.